The Battle of Belleau. On June 6, 1918, Marines fought one of their greatest battles in history at Belleau, France during World War I. Marines helped to crush a German offensive at Belleau that threatened Paris. In honor of the Marines who fought there, the French renamed the area, the Wood of the Brigade of Marines. German intelligence evaluated the Marines as storm troops, the highest rating on the enemy fighting scale. In reference to the Marines' ferocious fighting ability, German troops called their new enemy Teufelhunden, or devil dogs, a nickname in which Marines share pride. The Battle of Guadalcanal. On August 7, 1942, the 1st Marine Division landed on the beaches of Guadalcanal in the Solomon Islands and launched the first United States land offensive of World War II. This battle marked the first combat test of the new amphibious doctrine, and also provided a crucial turning point of the war in the Pacific by providing a base to launch further invasions of Japanese-held islands. Amphibious landings followed on the remaining Solomon Islands including New Georgia, Bougainville, and Choiseul. The Battle of Tarawa. The Gilbert Islands were the first in the line of advance for the offensive in the Central Pacific. The prime objective was the Tarawa Atoll and Bedio Island, which had been fortified to the point that the Japanese commander proclaimed that it would take 1,000,000 Americans 100 years to conquer it. On November 20, 1943, Marines landed and secured the island within 76 hours, but paid a heavy price in doing so. Because of an extended reef, landing craft could not cross it and Marines were offloaded hundreds of yards from the beaches. This led to heavy losses from enemy fire. Additionally, many Marines drowned while attempting to wade ashore. The Battle of Mariana Islands. Due to the need for airfields by the Air Force and advanced bases for the Navy, the Marianas were invaded. Landings on the islands of Saipan, Guam, and Tinian accomplished this. During June and July of 1943, Lieutenant General Holland M. Howland "Mad" Smith led a combined invasion force of Marines and soldiers that totaled over 136,000. This was the greatest number of troops up to that time to operate in the field under Marine command. Battle of Okinawa. On April 1, 1945 until June 22, 1945, Marines took part in the last and largest battle of the Pacific, which involved 287,000 troops. The battle was crucial for securing vital air bases that would be used for the planned invasion of the Japanese mainland. By the end of the 82-day campaign, the Japanese suffered over 77,000 casualties and the Allies received 65,000 including 14,000 dead. 23 Medals of Honor were awarded. The Battle of Iwo Jima. On February 19, 1945, Marines landed on Iwo Jima in what was the largest and bloodiest all-Marine battle in history. The Marine Corps suffered over 23,300 casualties. The capture of Iwo Jima greatly increased the air support and bombing operations against the Japanese home islands. Of the savage battle, Admiral Chester W. Nimitz said, "Among the Americans who served on Iwo Island, uncommon valor was a common virtue." Note, in June 2007, Japan changed the name of Iwo Jima back to its pre-World War II name of Iwo. The Battle of Chosin Reservoir. In November of 1950, during the Korean War, Marines pushed far into North Korea and were cut off after the Chinese Communist forces entered the war. Despite facing a 10-division force sent to annihilate them, Marines smashed 7 enemy divisions in their march from the Chosin Reservoir. The major significance of this retrograde movement was that Marines brought out all operable equipment, properly evacuated their wounded and dead, and maintained tactical integrity. The Battle of Hue City. During the Vietnamese holiday of Tet in January of 1968, Communist forces launched a surprise offensive by infiltrating large numbers of their troops into the major population centers of Hue City, South Vietnam. A near division-size unit of North Vietnamese Army, NVA, troops occupied the city of Hue and the citadel. Marines fought in built-up areas for the first time since the Korean War, foregoing the application of heavy arms to minimize civilian casualties. Fighting was house to house with progress measured in yards. The city was secured on February 25, 1968. The First Battle of Fallujah, codenamed Operation Vigilant Resolve, was an unsuccessful attempt by the United States military to capture the city of Fallujah, Iraq. On April 4, 2004, 1st Battalion, 5th Marine Regiment, 1/5, attacked the city's industrial center, and the 2nd Battalion, 1st Marines, 2/1, pushed south through the northwestern urban district. They met harsh resistance, and by April 10, March 4 and February 2 were committed to the still raging conflict. The Second Battle of Fallujah, two distinct operations, Operation Al-Far and Operation Phantom Fury, took place during the Second Battle of Fallujah on November 7, 2004. Operation Al-Far, Arabic, the Dawn, represented a major success for the Iraqi government and coalition forces. The attack force included 9 U.S. Army and Marine battalions, 6 Iraqi battalions, and attack aviation from all of the military services, to include naval air flying off an aircraft carrier. The full assault force included some 12,000 Marines, soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Iraqi security forces, ISF. The keys to successful integration of this joint and coalition force were complementary war-fighting capabilities, a single chain of command, advances in technology, and the unifying vision of liberating a city from the oppressive grip of the insurgents and terrorists. The assault and subsequent reconstruction efforts turned Fallujah from an insurgent base of operations into the cornerstone of progress in the Al-Anbar province. Operation Phantom Fury was a joint U.S.-Iraqi-British offensive led by the U.S. Marine Corps against the Iraqi insurgency stronghold in the city of Fallujah, which was authorized by the U.S.-appointed Iraqi interim government. The carefully designed and skillfully executed attack took place on November 7, 2004 and employed regimental combat teams, RCTs, 1 and 7 attacking south into the city. The Marines were well supported by Army mechanized infantry and cavalry units. This inter-service and fully coordinated air-ground approach gradually overwhelmed the insurgents trapped in the city. The dense urban fighting was fierce, and conducted house by house and rooftop to rooftop. Operation Strike of the Sword, Operation Khanjar was an American-led military offensive against the Taliban in Helmand province in southern Afghanistan. Approximately 4,000 Marines from the 2nd Marine Expeditionary Brigade along with 650 Afghan Army soldiers took part in the offensive. The operation began when the U.S. and Afghan forces entered the Helmand River Valley in the early morning of July 2, 2009. This operation was the largest Marine offensive since the Battle of Fallujah in 2004. The operation was also the biggest offensive airlift by the Marines since the Vietnam War. Units involved in the offensive include 2nd Battalion, 8th Marines, 2nd Light Armored Reconnaissance Battalion and 1st Battalion, 5th Marines. The Battle of Marja, also known as Operation Moshtarak, Dari word for together. In February 2010 Operation Moshtarak reclaimed Marja, a strategic agricultural hub and narco-terrorist safe haven in the Helmand River Valley. Together with thousands of Afghan national security forces, the Marines tangibly improved the geopolitical landscape of southwestern Afghanistan.